What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Before I actually get to my top 10 of the year, I actually want to kind of do a very quick introduction as to some honorable mentions and how I actually chose this list. Now, this list was very hard to do. I've seen a lot of interesting movies, a lot of great films, but I judged it basically on these couple of things where I judged it on my film going experience, how much I was actually looking forward to it, how relatable was it, and kind of just replay value just in general. Now, when I base it onto those four things, that's kind of how I came up with this list, and it was a very hard thing to do, even taking that into consideration, but hopefully you agree. Some honorable mentions very quickly is Inside Out, Chi-Raq, Sicario, and Room. Now, these things just didn't make the list, but if I made the top 14, they definitely would have been on there. But don't feel bad if something's not on here, and don't judge. Everybody has their opinions, and this is my goddamn opinion. Now, but yes, don't, and also if you're doing a top 10 list, don't go after like the critics' top 10. I got Spotlight, I got all these high caliber. Don't put every Oscar movie in your top 10 list. You know, just enjoy what you have and put it out there. But that saying, this is my top 10 list, and it's coming in 3 and 2 and 1. Watch out for the right hook. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 films of the year. It is right at a time that people kind of do their list, so I decided why not? Let's make my list of my favorite films of the year. Hopefully you agree, maybe you don't, but let's talk about this because at the end of the day, everybody's got their opinions. But let's talk about mine. Mine top 10 films of the year. Starting with number 10 is none other than Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Now, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation was a fantastic film in its own right, and some people were kind of wondering, well, would they, top Dubai? Would they actually be better? But they actually managed to pull it off. There's a bit more espionage and more spy, and Rebecca Ferguson actually outshined Tom Cruise in this movie. Who outshines Tom Cruise? I'll tell you who. Two recent females, Emily Blunt and Rebecca Ferguson. Bring on Ferguson. Bring on Paula Patton. Bring on the whole gang. Ving Rhames a little lazy, but that's not the problem here. Let's talk about number 9. Number 9 is the Peanuts movie. The Peanuts movie was a welcome surprise because I grew up watching the Charlie Brown specials. I didn't watch any other than that. Some of the specials other than the Christmas and Thanksgiving one, Halloween, those kind of went down, but that's not the problem here. The problem with Peanuts is really, there is no problem. It's a nice homage to your old childhood, and it was welcome, and it was a very nice surprise to see the son of Charles Schultz stick to his guns and make this thing have the feel and the look of the original Peanuts while bringing it into the modern times. So thank you, sir. And that was my number 9. Now, number 8 is a movie that I actually just recently watched, and I really enjoyed. We're talking about The Martian. Ridley Scott did a fantastic job of making us be on Mars. Matt Damon is funny. Ridley Scott is back after the disaster that was The Counselor, and, depending on which way you look at it, Prometheus. Those two movies were solid, but Ridley Scott was slightly different. But this movie brought Ridley back. And now he's in a war contention. He's bringing back Alien. Ridley Scott did a fantastic job. This was a better Fantastic Four movie for Kate Mara than the actual Fantastic Four. That's just me, but that's what I'm talking about. Now we go to none other than number 7. Number 7 is Kingsman: The Secret Service. I did not see or read the graphic novel, but you don't have to read the graphic novel. This is a fantastic film that pays homage to spy films and not take it too seriously, but it's just a fun movie, and probably one of the most fun films I had in a movie theater all year. It was just fun. Sam Jackson as Russell Simmons, fun. And it ends with a hole-in-one. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. Yes, but my number 6 movie is none other than The Hateful Eight. Yes, I could have done a pun and put it at number 8, but I did not. We're talking about The Hateful Eight. The Hateful Eight recently just dropped, and I loved it all the way through. 3 hours kind of just flies by to me personally. Tarantino's good in this movie. He's good at directing this film. Sam Jackson is fantastic, and it's a very interesting guess of who done it. Yes, the tonal shifts a bit towards the end, and obviously there's a couple surprises that make it well worth the guessing game, price of admission. But for some reason, I really enjoyed this movie, but not enough to kind of put it as my higher on the list. But let's move on to none other than number 5. We're talking about Dope. Dope, you may have not even heard of Dope, but I personally enjoyed Dope. And the reason why it's in my top 5 was because I resonate with it. Being a black man in society, not getting preachy, but being a black man in society, I enjoyed the message. It's about these 90 kids, these 90 enthusiasts that kind of get mixed up in the drug trade. And for some reason, they kind of have to sell drugs for a certain reason. I won't tell you why, but just go watch the movie. It's a fantastic film. If you like Boys in the Hood mixed with House Party, you meshed that shit together. This is that's pretty much what this film is. A$AP Rocky actually manages to pull off a good acting, debut. He actually was good in this film, and Forest Whitaker is great as a narrator. It's a great film. Go watch it. Zoe Kravitz. My number 4 film. Some people are gonna probably be surprised, but don't be surprised, because I thought it was great and I thought it was good, but it had a couple of problems, and that's why my number 4th movie is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, I really had a great time with The Force Awakens, and it was probably the most fun in the movie theaters just in general, because I was just totally into it from the start. Everything was good, the characters, everything, but, yes, it's a bit of, a rehash of some things in A New Hope, but that doesn't take away how great the movie is. I had a problem with Kylo Ren, a couple of deaths, but that doesn't take away that this movie is a very well made tribute to the fans that liked the originals, and kind of had to be a bit of an apology to everything that was the prequels, unfortunately. But that makes it my number 4 film. Now, my number 3 film is none other than the action movie probably of the decade. We're talking about Mad Max Fury Road. Now, Mad Max Fury Road, who would have thought that a 70-plus-year-old man named George Miller would have been cranking out so much action, so much fast-paced shit, and just a beautiful-looking fucking movie to the point where you're just like, goddamn, this, as like Die Hard was in maybe like the 80s and going on forward, I feel like Mad Max going on forward is going to be the standard bearer as to what action movies should be. I don't think anybody would top it, but hey, that's what makes a great action film. They don't have to top it. Just be a great action movie in its own right. But Miller does a fantastic job. Who doesn't want a spin-off of Furiosa? Who doesn't want, another freaking sequel? Warner Brothers make it happen. But Tom Hardy's voice, that's gotta go. Go water. That's gotta get out of here. But that's just my opinion. But my number 2 movie is the movie that was the knockout performance of the year, maybe. We're talking about Creed, probably the movie I was looking most forward to, even more than Star Wars, personally. And Creed, Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone better get goddamn nominated Oscars. They did a fantastic job. Yes, it's also kind of like Star Wars, where it kind of retreads some of the same ground as Rocky, but then all Rockies kind of eventually treaded the same ground, other than the first one, really. But this is a great performance by Michael B. Jordan. Sylvester Stallone is really just an aging, wore-down Rocky that you still care for. And Ryan Coogler, which directed Fruitvale, even though I'm not the world's biggest Fruitvale Station fan, this movie I feel like is a much better, more better acted, and everything just comes to full circle more in this film than I think in Fruitvale. But that's just my opinion. That was, like I said, that was my number 2. And now my number 1 movie of the year, which I think was my favorite film experience, just in general, was none other than, ready? 3, 2, 1. Straight Outta Compton. That is right. You're probably saying, what? But let me tell you this right now. Straight Outta Compton, when I went to the movie theater, it was a packed house. It was huge NWA fans. When I saw the damn movie, everybody was excited. People were laughing. People were kind of, singing with the music. That No Vaseline scene is badass. The newcomers did great. F. Gary Gray did a fantastic directing job. Ice Cube put his son in this movie, and it wasn't narcissism. He actually managed to pull it off O'Shea, and he delivered. I felt like I was in a goddamn NWA concert, and not only that, but it's one of the few biopics that can feel like a biopic, but at the same time feel like a hood movie. It felt like Boys in the Hood in some way, and that's what made this movie great. Not feeling like Boys in the Hood, but it felt like a great biopic, and it had a good ending. Suge Knight seemed like a comedy joke. No offense, Suge, but the guy that portrayed Suge Knight, he just seemed like a bit of a comedy joke. But that is my opinion, and those are my top 10 films of the year. Do you agree with some of them? Do you not agree? Let me know in the comments, man. Also, comment, subscribe, like. Help me get to 60 subscribers before the new year. I'm Chris Smith. I'm signing out.